So we are now going to talk about division of radicals where we have to rationalize the denominator. Rationalizing the denominator means to make sure there are no irrational numbers in the denominator or the bottom of the fraction. We don't want to have an irrational number like the square root of 2 in the bottom of the fraction, because the fraction is not in simplest form. We want it to be in simplest form. So the first steps are going to be the same as simple division. We simplify, we divide the numbers inside of the radicals, we divide numbers outside of the radicals if we can, we simplify again, and then we multiply the bottom and top by bottom radical. So, step 1, I can't simplify anything. Step 2, I can't divide because this is a number and this is a radical, which means I also skip step 3. I can't do step 4, so I'm going straight to step 5, where I multiply the bottom and the top by the bottom radical. So, the bottom radical for number 1 is the square root of 2. I'm going to multiply the bottom of my of my fraction, and the top by the square root of 2. Now I'm going to multiply across, just like I would because they're fractions. 10 times the square root of 2 is 10 square root 2. Remember, we cannot multiply 10 and 2 because this is a radical and this is a whole number. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 becomes the square root of 4, because we do inside times inside, but we also know that the square root of 4 is a perfect square, which is 2. So now we have 10 square root 2 over 2. I'm going to go back to my steps at the top. Remember, we can divide inside numbers by inside and outside by outside. And I noticed that my two outside numbers, 10 and 2, can be divided. 10 divided by 2, or in other words, cut in half, becomes 5. The root 2 doesn't change, so I just keep it next to the 5, and that is my final answer. For number 2, we are going to go to our steps. Simplifying, we could simplify 8, but we're going to skip that step for now. You can if you want to, but we're still going to be simplifying all of this in the end, so I'm going to skip it. Steps 2, I can't divide 6 and 8. Step 3 doesn't go into anything, and step 4, again, we're not simplifying, so we're going to go straight to multiplying the bottom radical, which in this case is root 6, to the bottom and the top of my fraction. So, to get rid of the root 6, I have to multiply by root 6, bottom and top. Inside times inside, 8 times 6 gives me the square root of 48. Outside times outside, we'll pretend there's a 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Root 6 times root 6 is the square root of 36. We know that the square root of 36 is a perfect square, so it ends up just being 6. Now, the 3 is still on the outside, and it has to be multiplied by whatever we've simplified. So 3 times 6 becomes 18, and we bring down the square root of 48. We all know that the square root of 48 can be simplified, so I'm going to do it over here in the right-hand side to give me some room. I know that 6 and 8 go into 48 because that's what we multiplied to begin with. That's just an easy way to start. We can break 6 down into 2 and 3. We can break 8 down into 2 and 4. And we can break 4 down into 2 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. We put all 5 inside of our radical. There are 4 2s and 1 3. So we have 2 pairs of 2's. We kill one, bring one outside, kill one, bring one outside, and we now have 2 2's on our outside and the 3 left by itself on the inside. 2 times 2 gives us 4, and then we just leave the 3 in our square root. So now we'll bring this up here, and this is our new numerator, so 4 square root of 3 over 18. Now this is going to bring us back to middle school. The 4 and the 18, I know that they're both even numbers. 4 is an even number, it's divisible by 2, and 18 is an even number, also divisible by 2. So I'm going to reduce 4 over 18 by 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. And I keep the root 3 the same. And 18 divided by 2 gives me 9. And that is our final answer.